That's football.
What do you mean? Which football are we talking about?
Football.
Well, football overseas, if you refer to it as soccer, it makes more sense because it's a game with foot and ball.
I don't know why we call football football, or call what, I don't know what you would call it, American brute ball. I don't know.
It never made sense to me why American football was football when you never used your feet. Football, ball foot, it's at your feet, it's soccer. I mean, soccer is what I know, but football, the ball is at your foot. It makes sense. I mean, American football is, I don't know. I never understood that.
I think the names are mixed up. So I think it should be football all the way around and call American football something else.
Because I could never figure out, I could never figure out why do the Americans call their game football. Because they run with it most of the time. As we play with it with our feet, football. And I know the American footballers, they do occasionally kick the ball, but I don't get it. Somebody give me a clue.
For me, football is football.
The older generations didn't grow up playing soccer in the United States. They grew up with baseball, football, basketball. And they just didn't grow up with soccer.
The upper class didn't want their kids associating with the people who were on the street playing soccer because it wasn't good enough. And so that's why the white American people aren't, they are now, but back then it was like, oh, well, the foreigners, those guys over there are doing that. I don't want you doing that. It was a lower class sport. And so, I think, football, baseball, those were upper class sports, and that's where their kids should have been.
Like in the streets, whenever you're messing around in other countries, it's soccer everywhere. When in the streets, when you're messing around here in America, it's basketball. You know what I mean? Or street football, more basketball than street football. Because street football, you can break your arm or your face, lose a tooth quickly. I broke my arm, my right arm. But basketball is really the one that you want to do in the streets in America when you're young and stuff like that.
In Africa, people are very poor, and the only way for them in order to soften the poverty or to forget just for a while about the poverty is to focus on entertainment, especially football. So it's not organized. You can play football everywhere in the streets.
It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing. Because we're in U.S., our American football is what we watch on Monday nights or Sunday nights, when soccer's not going on. There's a lot more American money, currency going into American football than there is soccer. And the reverse, the switch side of the coin is over in Europe, there's more money in soccer or their football than there is in ours.
Whenever I drive around, you see kids playing, you see organized soccer all over the place. But you'll see Mexicans playing, whatever color they are, they're out there playing on a Saturday around the track or whatever they're doing. On any piece of grass, they're out there playing. I don't think that was good enough for some people in this country in the beginning. Well, that's not good enough to go over there and play with those people. That's what the lower class people are doing. Why would you do that? I think that was a mentality.
I think that Americans like to see points. I think that's a big one. They like to see a lot of points on the board so that they can see like, hey, progression is coming. You know what I mean? Seems like there's a lot, there's so much fighting for one goal, and you can't really see nobody gets really cremated. Nobody gets really decimated in soccer. I mean, you may have 3-0 or 5-0 once in a life, once in a few times, but nobody ever gets 50 to 20 or whatever. They're constantly running for hours.
The U.S., the Dallas Mavericks are respected. A lot of the baseball teams are respected because they win a lot, they score a lot of points. Football, you don't score a lot of points. You win every now and then, you tie, you lose, that's part of the game. People here don't respect soccer as it should be.
This country is a little selfish in a way that It's about who's scoring points, how many home runs, how many personal points are you getting. And you're right, soccer is a team sport. And yes, you get individual statistics, but at the end of the day, it's what your team has done. You win and lose as a group, not individually. I think our country's sort of wrapped up in how much everybody gets. How much are you getting paid? How many points do you have? How many goals do you have? How much do you make? What kind of car do you drive? Status, status, status. Instead of what's it coming down to as the group, as the team. We're, you know.
I love Mavericks basketball. I've been a fan ever since I was about 7 years old when my dad took me to my first game. When I was living in Europe, I lived abroad for a year, and I lived in southern Spain, and you know, all of Spain is very, very fanatical about their football. And when I went there, I remember going to one of those stadiums and I saw a game with Real Madrid versus Real Betis. And they played each other, and there was like, must have been 80 to 90,000 people in the stands. And it was insane. It was unlike any sporting event I'd ever been to in America. I've been to baseball games, basketball, hockey, football, everything you can name, but nothing compared to European sports like football. European football is simply amazing.
Back at home in England, everybody's soccer crazy, and it's a big part of our culture.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of an international language. You know, everybody speaks soccer, everybody plays soccer. If you take Ivory Coast, for example, they've been in the middle of a 3-year civil war, and they call it a ceasefire just because Ivory Coast qualified for the World Cup.
Push the ball. Okay, Dempsey. He needs to keep doing it. Dempsey needs to keep running at the entire defender.
You know, I'm looking for more bars to see the games at early in the mornings and stuff, and I come to the Londoners here to have some beers with my friends, and you know, with all the people that do what I do.
I don't know why Americans don't view soccer very, because it's, I mean, obviously it's a very big sport, but something about Americans, just the general attitude towards soccer is kind of like lax.
Soccer gets recognition here like when the World Cup comes around, but people are passionate. I mean, it is a passion, it's a way of life to them. You'll see them at the weekends wearing their football team shirts and stuff, you know. It's a way of life. I mean, people have been divorced over the fact that they are so passionate about their football.
I've been playing a long time. I enjoy it. I play with my friends all the time. Even though I'm injured, I still love to watch it. It's just something internal, you know what I mean? You kind of feel it.
The male leading sports are like basketball, football, hockey, baseball. Okay, those are all American, not so much hockey, but those are all American sports. The female sports are, what are the female sports? Okay, well, let's go. Well, their soccer is now becoming huge because all these players that are athletic can play the game.
Most of the Americans tend to see it as some kind of like girly sport as opposed to being a man's sport.
That sport is so popular in the female category. Even the United States won once the World Cup. And I think this is because ladies have, tastes for everything that is excellent, exciting. So they move quickly to that sport. Now men are trying to catch up.
It's a time for them to shine alone and not be overshadowed by males. You know, it's a time because if you think about it, the women's team is more popular than the men's team.
When soccer comes down to being a male or female thing, it depends on who wants to play it more. I think equal size in America play it more. In Europe, I think that males play it more in Europe. But I think because it's considered a girly sport, because of the fact, though, the guys are skinny, they're long, they're tall, they don't have big steroid muscles, but they're quick, and they can burn your ass if you don't watch out.
If you're a football player, it's such a popular sport that you want to be big on the big stage. You want to be big for hitting. You want to be big for dunking on somebody. You want to be big for knocking somebody down or catching the touchdown pass.
That's surprising. You know, in Africa, that can be explained by some cultural influences, because in Africa, we have some taboos, and we have big pressure from culture. They say you don't allow a lady or a young girl to show, for example, her feet. But with time moving, people are changing their mind.
Well, interesting. You know, we don't have a cultural barrier here that says women shouldn't be in sports. I think we did initially at one point, and that's been gone. But as far as the guys and the girls are concerned, you know, there's an equal opportunity for both genders here.
In the long run, America is going to be among the best soccer team in the world.
You know, if they taught it in schools as part of the curriculum, maybe then it would have picked up years and years ago.
And there are a lot of passionate Americans about soccer. There definitely are a lot of passionate Americans. We have to give soccer a chance, and those people who don't understand the game, and you need to get out there and watch it and respect it and try playing it.
I'm sorry, if I had a choice of having a weekend with a gorgeous lady, soccer or American football, what would I choose? I'd probably take the gorgeous woman to the football match.
Not a soccer game.
I mean the soccer game, yeah, football, sorry. Yeah, we play football, okay, football.